Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host. And today, our mission is to explore this massive looming collision between two really unstoppable forces.
Yeah, glad to be here. It's a huge topic today.
It really is, because on one side, we have this demographic time bomb, and it is ticking louder every single day.
Right.
And then on the other side, we have the artificial intelligence boom. So specifically, we're going to look at how global enterprises are desperately trying to save human expertise before it literally, walks out the door to retirement.
Which is happening faster than people realize.
Exactly. And to really understand the mechanics of how you rescue decades of human knowledge, we're going to break down the strategies and the tech being deployed by EON AI Ventures. They're a group whose entire focus is solving this exact crisis.
Right, they are basically at the very front lines of this.
Yeah. So let's start here. I want you listening right now to think about the most experienced person in your workplace.
We all have one.
We do. You know exactly who I'm talking about. It's that person who knows how to fix the thing that literally no one else can fix. The one who remembers why some bizarre workaround was built into your system like 10 years ago.
Yeah, the person who doesn't even need to look at the manual anymore.
And exactly. The one who just seems to have this intuitive, almost magical feel for when a machine is about to break down or when a project is about to go entirely off the rails long before anyone else even notices a problem.
It's all muscle memory for them at that point.
Right. Now, I want you to imagine them and half of your entire industry suddenly retiring.
Yeah, that is the terrifying part.
And not in 20 years. We're talking in the next 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Just packing up their desks, walking out the door, and taking all of that invisible, undocumented, hard-earned knowledge with them.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this demographic shift is like the Library of Alexandria burning down in slow motion.
That is a very accurate way to look at it, actually.
Yeah.
Except, the books aren't ancient scrolls of poetry. The books are the critical knowledge of how to run our hospitals, our power grids, and our manufacturing plants.
That's right. It is a terrifying prospect, especially if you are managing operations where the margin for error is essentially zero.
Yeah, zero room for mistakes.
Exactly. We are looking at a literal exodus of expertise here. The reality from the data is incredibly stark. 50% of today's experienced professionals are approaching retirement within that exact 5 to 7 year window you just mentioned.
Half. That's half the workforce.
Half the workforce. It's staggering. And the immediate why behind this crisis, like why enterprises are treating this as an absolute existential threat, is that this monumental knowledge loss endangers everything foundational to a business.
Because you can't just operate without it.
Right. It destroys productivity, it obliterates competitive advantage, and most importantly, it severely compromises safety.
Safety, yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, and the traditional upskilling methods we've relied on for decades, they're simply too slow and frankly too shallow to catch up.
Like the old corporate training modules.
Exactly. You cannot put a new hire through a standard, 2-day corporate training seminar and expect them to magically replace a 30-year veteran, a veteran who has institutional memory literally baked into their muscle memory.
Yeah, right. Sitting in some fluorescent lit conference room, drinking terrible coffee and just clicking next on a slideshow that isn't going to teach a junior engineer the subtle, almost imperceptible vibration a turbine makes right before a pressure valve blows.
Exactly.
It's the kind of knowledge that, well, it only comes from being in the room when things actually go wrong.
That's the tacit knowledge, the stuff you can't easily write down.
But I do want to push back on the panic for just a second here, because we are in the golden age of AI, right?
Well, you certainly are.
We have these incredible, powerful tools right at our fingertips. They can write code, they can generate essays, they can pass the bar exam. So if half the workforce is leaving, why can't we just plug the gaps with the generic AI tools that everyone is already using on their phones?
That seems logical, right?
Yeah. I mean, why aren't companies just handing the new hires a tablet with the generic chatbot and saying, here, if you don't know which wire to cut, just ask the AI?
Well, what's fascinating here is that this is exactly the trap so many organizations are falling into right now.
Really? Just relying on generic chatbots?
Yes. They assume intelligence is universally applicable across the board. But generic AI, by its very nature and architecture, only delivers about an 80% quality rate.
Only 80%?
Right, because it is designed to be a generalist. I mean, it can draft a brilliant email, it can summarize a 50-page quarterly report in 10 seconds, it can even help you brainstorm marketing idea.
Sure, it's great for that stuff.
But it gets you most of the way there, not all the way there. It
Mhm.
stops at that 80% mark.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting because an 80% success rate is entirely contextual. I mean, an 80% success rate is a solid B grade on a high school history test. You get a B, you pass the class, you go home happy. But an 80% success rate in a safety critical manufacturing plant or in a surgical room or managing the cooling rods of a nuclear reactor, that is a complete and total disaster.
It is an absolutely unacceptable level of risk.
Right.
For everyday administrative tasks, an 80% accuracy rate is a miracle of modern technology. But in mission-critical, high-stakes environments like energy, aerospace, or healthcare operations require a 100% flawless alignment.
There is no B grade in aerospace.
No, there isn't. You need flawless alignment between what the technology is telling you to do and what you actually execute. You have to remember how generic AI models work. They're predictive engines.
They just guess the next word, basically.
They are guessing the most statistically likely next word in a sequence based on broad, general internet data. They do not possess a physical understanding of the real world.
That makes sense.
So you cannot have an AI hallucination or a best guess when a worker is dealing with, say, high-voltage lines.
Yeah, because if a chatbot gives me a slightly incorrect recipe for dinner, my dinner just tastes a little bland.
Exactly. No real harm done.
But if an AI hallucinates and gives a junior engineer a highly plausible but technically incorrect sequence for shutting down a chemical rig,
Yeah.
things go boom. People actually get hurt. The stakes are physical, not just digital.
And right now, the lack of scalable, personalized, and hyper-accurate training solutions has left these critical industries incredibly vulnerable.
I can imagine.
They are facing agonizingly long time-to-competency cycles.
Time to competency, meaning how long it takes to train them up?
Right. In plain English, it just takes far too long to get a raw recruit up to a level where they are safe to operate independently. Every single month that a new worker is operating at a suboptimal level, it increases operational inefficiencies, it drives up costs, and obviously it heightens the risk of catastrophic failure.
Wow.
If enterprises do not intervene with a radically different approach, they risk losing the very expertise that allows them to function in the first place.
Okay, so we have the parameters of the problem laid out. The true experts are leaving. The generic AI isn't good enough because it leaves that terrifying 20% margin of error, making it fundamentally unsafe.
Exactly.
So how do organizations actually capture that required 100% precision knowledge before the experts walk out the door to go play golf for the rest of their lives?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right. I mean, are we just talking about hiring ghostwriters to sit with these veterans and write much better, much longer instruction manuals? Or are we basically trying to download a senior engineer's brain?
It's definitely closer to the latter.
And I have to ask, how does that even work practically? I can interview an expert, sure. I can strap a GoPro to their chest and video them working. But there is so much intuitive knowledge, the stuff they don't even know they know. How do you digitize human intuition?
It definitely leans much closer to downloading a brain, though we need to ground that in the actual technology being used.
Fair enough.
What EON AI Ventures focuses on is called knowledge capture and retention. But to answer your question about how, it is not about writing a better manual. It's about multimodal ingestion.
Multimodal ingestion. Okay, break that down for me.
When an enterprise wants to capture the expertise of a retiring master craftsman, they don't just ask them questions. They use AI to ingest everything. The AI analyzes decades of specific technical schematics, maintenance logs, and historical incident reports that the expert has navigated over their career.
So it reads all the paperwork.
Yes, but more importantly, through advanced sensors and immersive technology, the AI can actually capture the spatial and procedural telemetry of the expert at work.
Wait, telemetry? Like how they physically move?
Exactly. It maps how they move, where they look, the exact sequence of their physical actions when addressing a complex problem. The AI takes that deeply intuitive physical knowledge and translates it into a structured digital format.
Okay, so you aren't just recording a video. You are creating a highly detailed digital map of the expert's decision-making process and their actual physical workflow. You're literally turning intuition into data.
Yes. It is a complete re-engineering of workforce capability for the AI era. It's moving away from generalized theory and shifting entirely to AI-enhanced, highly customized skill development.
That is Wild.
To understand the mandate behind this, Dan Lajerskar, the chairman of the ENN, framed it perfectly.
What did he say?
He said, "The knowledge and expertise that propel enterprises today must not retire with the workforce of tomorrow."
Must not retire with the workforce of tomorrow.
I like that. It's a very clear battle
It's a
cry.
very aggressive stance, yes.
Yep.
The goal is to fundamentally bridge the gap between what the departing experts know in their bones and what the organization requires to survive tomorrow.
But I have to be a little skeptical here. How do you truly measure that transfer of knowledge? Corporate training is notorious for being almost impossible to effectively track.
It really is. You give a new employee a multiple choice test on a computer. They pass it with flying colors, but then you put them on a noisy, chaotic factory floor, and they completely freeze up under the pressure. A dashboard saying someone finished a module doesn't mean they actually absorbed the expert's intuition.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture of enterprise accountability, that is exactly why the focus has shifted to what are called measurable time-to-competency outcomes.
Time to competency, meaning literally the stopwatch on how fast you can make a raw recruit genuinely good at their job.
Exactly.
But again, how are you measuring it if not with a test?
You measure it by analyzing their real-time performance in high-fidelity simulations, not through multiple-choice questions. The AI doesn't just deliver a lecture. It tracks how the learner interacts with the virtual material.
Oh, so it's watching them back.
Right. It measures micro-hesitations. It tracks where their eyes go when an alarm sounds in the simulation. It monitors whether they default to the correct safety protocol instinctively or if they panic and look around. The analytics provide a real-time, objective assessment of workforce readiness. You know mathematically if this person is genuinely ready for a high-stakes physical environment before they ever step foot in it.
So what does this all mean for the actual person going through this? Put me in the shoes of the employee.
Okay.
Let's say I'm a 25-year-old new hire at a regional power plant. The 30-year veteran, the guy who kept the grid running through 3 different hurricanes, just retired. Capturing his knowledge into a digital map was step 1. But how do I actually absorb decades of his experience quickly without, causing a citywide blackout or getting myself electrocuted in the process?
To understand the user experience, you have to look at the holistic end-to-end life cycle that has been built for this exact scenario. It operates on a strict 4-step mechanism.
Okay, what are the steps?
Learn, train, perform, automate.
Okay, learn, train, perform, automate. Let's break those down.
Yeah.
The first one is learn. I'm assuming this is what we just talked about. The system ingesting the expert's knowledge and creating that digital map of what I need to know.
Correct. The learn phase establishes the baseline. It's the translation of the retiring expert's tacit knowledge into a validated, enterprise-specific AI model.
Makes sense.
Once the system has learned the workflow, the human employee moves into the train phase. And this is where the methodology fundamentally diverges from traditional corporate onboarding.
And looking at the background of EON AI Ventures, there's a detail that stands out to me here. The founders have 25 years of experience specifically in immersive learning and XR extended reality solutions.
Yes, they do.
So this train phase isn't me sitting at a desk reading a PDF on a monitor.
Not at all.
It sounds more like putting on a VR headset and stepping into a highly advanced flight simulator, but customized for every high-stakes blue-collar and technical job out there. And your instructor is an AI clone of your company's absolute best employee.
That is an excellent analogy. The train phase leverages that deep background in extended reality to create something entirely immersive.
So I'm inside the plant.
Yes. You are placed in an exact one-to-one digital replica of your specific power plant, down to the rest on the pipes.
Down to the rust. That's incredible.
And you are guided by an AI that has been customized strictly around your industry's safety protocols and the captured knowledge of that retired veteran. This concept is known as safety-driven AI customization.
Safety-driven AI customization, okay?
The crucial difference here compared to generic AI is the restriction. This AI is optimized for 100% accuracy because it is mathematically constrained.
Meaning it can't just make things up.
Right. It is not allowed to pull random information from the open internet. It can only draw from the highly specific, validated repository of your enterprise's captured knowledge. It literally cannot hallucinate outside of those bounds, making it entirely safe to train with.
So I can fail in the simulator 100 times. I can turn the wrong valve, cause a virtual meltdown, and the AI coach corrects me based on exactly what the retired veteran would have done.
Yeah.
I build up that muscle memory safely.
Yes. It accelerates the time to competency. because you are learning through experiential repetition, guided by flawless expertise. But eventually, you have to do the job for real. That brings us to the third step: perform.
Right, because at some point, the training wheels have to come off. I have to take off the headset, walk onto the real factory floor, and touch a physical valve that has real high-pressure steam running through it. But does the AI just abandon me at the door with a good luck?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
The AI transitions from being a simulator instructor to being an over-the-shoulder coach in the physical world. EON AI Ventures uses two distinct platforms to manage this transition.
Okay, two platforms.
The first is what they call the virtual campus, which handles all the scalable training, the Immersive XR certification, and the knowledge transfer we just discussed.
So the virtual campus is the flight simulator.
Exactly. But once you step onto the real floor, you engage with their second system, the Enterprise AI platform. This system is designed for operational intelligence.
Operational intelligence.
Yes. In the perform phase, you might be wearing augmented reality glasses or using a mobile device, and the AI is there with you in real time.
Okay, I want to visualize this. If I'm standing in front of a complex piece of machinery I've never actually touched before, the Enterprise AI platform is looking at it with me.
Right.
It's overlaying visual instructions or maybe verifying through a camera that my hand is on the correct lever, actively ensuring I'm applying the simulator training correctly in the real world.
Precisely. It minimizes operational errors at the exact moment of execution through automated reinforcement. The AI validates your actions against the captured master knowledge.
So it knows if I mess up.
If you reach for the wrong lever, the system flags it instantly. You're performing the high-stakes task, but you have an infallible safety net verifying your work.
That is wild. It's like having the ghost of the retired 30-year veteran standing right behind you, whispering in your ear, making sure you don't mess up.
It really is the ultimate evolution of on-the-job support, which naturally leads us to the fourth and final step of the life cycle: automate.
I was wondering where automation fit into this, considering the whole goal is to upskill human workers, not replace them.
Right.
If the AI is already holding my hand while I do the job, what is left to automate? Does the AI eventually just take the wrench out of my hand?
Not the wrench, it takes the clipboard.
No, the clipboard.
Yes. Once the AI system intimately understands the physical workflow because it learned it from the expert, trained you on it, and monitored you performing it, it can begin to streamline all the friction surrounding the physical job.
The paperwork.
Exactly. Every high-stakes job comes with a massive amount of low-stakes, repetitive bureaucracy, filing compliance reports, logging maintenance schedules, ordering replacement
The
parts.
stuff nobody actually wants to do.
Right. The system transitions into AI-led workflows to completely automate those mundane tasks. It frees the human worker from the busy work so they can focus 100% of their cognitive energy on the high-stakes, precision-required elements of their job.
The things only a human hand and eye can ultimately execute.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept. The learn, train, perform, automate loop makes total logical sense. But let me put my skeptical enterprise manager hat on for a second here.
Go for it.
If I run a global logistics hub or a busy urban hospital, my operation runs 24/7. I cannot hit pause.
No, of course not.
If installing the system requires me to shut down my facility for a month to map everything, install servers, and retrain everyone, I'm never going to buy it. It doesn't matter how good it is.
And that is a very real hurdle for any major technological shift. That's why a core component of this strategy is that deployment must require minimal disruption.
Minimal disruption. How do they manage that?
This isn't a rip-and-replace operation where you tear out all your existing infrastructure. It is designed as a highly consultative, seamless integration. The AI systems are layered over existing operational tech.
Oh, so it just sits on top of what you already have.
Right. For massive global enterprises, the return on investment in workforce capability has to be proven quickly, and it simply cannot come at the cost of halting current operations. The system essentially learns and integrates in the background while the business keeps moving.
It really is a complete closed-loop ecosystem. I mean, let's look at the whole journey. You extract the raw, intuitive knowledge from the brain of the person who is about to retire.
Yep.
You feed that specific data into a highly constrained, safety-driven AI model. You use that AI to build an immersive XR simulator to train the new 25-year-old kids safely.
Safely being the key word.
Right. Then you use that same AI as an augmented reality coach to guide them on the real factory floor. And finally, you let the AI automate all their paperwork so they can just focus on the craft.
It represents a profound, necessary shift in how we view corporate readiness and human capital.
It really does.
We have to stop treating new employees as blank slates that need to be slowly filled with generalized information over 10 years of messy trial and error.
Because we don't have 10 years anymore.
We simply do not have the luxury of time for trial and error anymore. The experts are leaving too fast, and the systems they manage are too critical to fail.
The Library of Alexandria is already on fire, the smoke is filling the room, and the people who know where the water buckets are kept are clocking out for the last time.
That is the stark reality. And this raises a highly urgent question for any operational leader today. What happens to your business if you don't do this?
You fail.
Right. The consequences of falling into that 80% generic AI trap are going to become painfully visible very soon. The companies that fail to aggressively capture and digitize their experts' knowledge are going to experience catastrophic operational failures. It is not a matter of if, but when.
Wow. Okay, as we start to wrap this up, I want to connect this directly back to you listening to this deep dive right now. Because as we accelerate further and further into this AI-driven era, the very definition of what expertise means is shifting dramatically under our feet.
It absolutely is.
Whether you are just starting out your career and trying to learn the ropes, or you are that seasoned 30-year veteran we talked about at the top of the show, the domain-specific institutional knowledge you possess in your head is rapidly becoming the most valuable data your company can possibly secure.
Without a doubt. The human element, that deeply nuanced physical understanding of complex, chaotic systems, is the one thing generic AI fundamentally cannot replicate on its own.
They just can't do it.
No. It requires this incredibly focused, precision-driven extraction and application process to even simulate it. That tacit knowledge is the ultimate currency in the modern workforce.
It really makes you look differently at your own job, doesn't it? The things you do automatically every day without thinking about them are actually incredibly complex algorithms that your company desperately needs to survive.
Yeah, that's a great way to frame it.
But looking at all of this also leaves me with a lingering thought. Something kind of heavy to chew on after we sign off.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if specialized platforms successfully capture the intuitive knowledge of our absolute best, most senior retiring experts with 100% accuracy, what happens to the concept of experience for the next generation of human workers?
That is a very philosophical but highly practical dilemma.
Right, because if you learn how to do your job entirely through an AI's automated, error-free reinforcement...
Without making any real mistakes yourself.
Exactly. If you are perfectly guided by a digital clone of a master from day one, rather than stumbling through your own messy, painful trial and error,
Okay.
do you ever truly become a master craftsman yourself?
That's a fascinating question.
The kind of person who can invent a totally new way of doing things? Or do you just become a highly capable robotic operator of the old master's AI? Do we stop creating new masters entirely and just endlessly clone the knowledge of the ones who already retired? It's something to think about the next time you look at the most experienced person in your office right before they walk out the door for good.